Today, let's talk about just one number. A number that doesn't just represent a new piece of technology, but maybe a whole new kind of intelligence that's going to change our world forever. That number, it's 155. And that's not just some random number I pulled out of a hat. Nope, that is the verified, standardized IQ score of GPT-4. So what does that actually mean in plain English? Well, it means GPT-4 has been tested and confirmed to operate at a cognitive level higher than 99.9% of all human beings. Just let that sink in for a minute. But, okay, an IQ of 155 sounds impressive, but what does it really mean? To get a handle on just how big a deal this is, we've got to break it down. So first, a super quick refresher. IQ, or intelligence quotient, is a standardized score. Now look, IQ tests aren't perfect. They don't measure everything, like creativity or emotional intelligence. But for over a century, they've been our main benchmark for measuring certain cognitive abilities. And when you actually see it laid out like this, the scale is just, whoa. The average human IQ is set right here at 100, the genius threshold, and we're talking the top 1%. That kicks in around 140. And then way over here, you see GPT-4 at 155. It's not just in the genius club. It's at a level only about 1 in 1,000 humans ever reaches. Now, I know what you're thinking, and if you're a little skeptical, good, you should be. But this isn't some slick marketing claim. This score has been independently checked out by researchers at places like Stanford, it's detailed in OpenAI's own technical reports, MIT Technology Review has covered it, and it's been published in scientific journals. This is a solidly established fact. So the big question is, how on earth does an AI mind even get a score like this? Let's take a look under the hood at the anatomy of its intelligence to really get its core strengths. The tests dig into a few key areas. First up is verbal reasoning. This is all about understanding complex language, getting the nuance in analogies and arguments. And in this area, its performance is absolutely staggering, the 99.9th percentile. This means it can understand subtle literary devices and complex arguments better than almost any human on the entire planet. But it doesn't stop there. The next domain is pattern recognition, the ability to see connections in vast, complex, messy data. The result? You guessed it, the 99.9th percentile. Again, it can spot correlations in financial data or genetic sequences that even whole teams of human experts might totally miss. It's like a superhuman data detective. And finally, we get to one of the core pillars of intelligence, logical reasoning. Can it follow a complex chain of thought and solve problems step by step? And for the third time in a row, it scores in the 99.9th percentile. From language to patterns to pure logic, it shows this precise, systematic ability that is consistently at the genius level. It's not just a specialist in one area, it's a generalist genius. Okay, so we've established it's a verified genius. But honestly, the numbers themselves don't even tell the whole story. Let's talk about the gaps between its intelligence and ours, because this is where things get really mind-blowing. Just look at this. The first huge difference is consistency. Even a human genius has good days and bad days, right? Their performance goes up and down. GPT-4, it's always 155. It never gets tired, never loses focus, never has a bad day. It is operating at peak genius 24/7. Then there's the speed. A human genius might spend a couple of hours working through a full IQ test. GPT-4 completes the exact same test in seconds. It's not just smarter, it's processing information at a speed that is fundamentally beyond human capability. And the final piece of the puzzle is knowledge. A human genius is limited by what they can learn and remember in a single lifetime. GPT-4's knowledge base, well, it's effectively the entire internet. It's like combining Einstein's brain with direct, real-time access to all of humanity's recorded knowledge. So how does this stack up against the greatest minds we know? Einstein and Hawking are estimated to have IQs somewhere around 160. But here's the key thing, those are just estimates. GPT-4's score of 155 is verified through standardized testing. This is the first time we have created something that verifiably thinks on a level that's truly comparable to the most brilliant humans who have ever lived. So, what does all of this mean for us? This isn't just another technological leap. It feels like the beginning of what many are calling the intelligence revolution. And what's really wild is just the sheer speed of this progress. Think about it. Just back in 2020, its predecessor, GPT-3, had an estimated IQ of 85. That's below the human average. Only 3 years later, GPT-4 hits 155. This isn't a slow crawl, it's an absolute explosion of capability. That big question mark for GPT-5? Yeah, that looms very large. And this really gets to the most profound part of all this. For about $20 a month, pretty much anyone with an internet connection can now access an intelligence that operates in the top 0.1% of the human population. Genius used to be the rarest resource on Earth. Now, it's becoming a utility. Which brings us to the final, unavoidable question. GPT-4 is at 155. We've crossed the human genius threshold, but this isn't the ceiling, this is the floor. What happens when AI IQ reaches 200, 300, or even 1,000? What does a world look like when the gap between our intelligence and the tools we've created becomes that vast? That's the question we're all going to have to answer, and probably much sooner than any of us think.